You guys are pumped this evening. Have a seat, please. Thank you. You guys are so pumped. It's good to see all of you. Please loosen up. Tell somebody loosen up. Loosen up. Loosen up. Don't be tensed. It's my wedding anniversary. You are here to celebrate. So don't. We thought about it and we just decided this was supposed to happen in February. So 13 years ago, this happened on this day. I looked very hopeless in that picture. But here I am. Okay. So there's hope. There is hope. Tell somebody there is hope. There is hope. Marriage is a lovely thing when it is done right. When it's done God's way, we always say that your marriage has a 100% chance of success if you do it God's way. If you do it God's way. As much as marriage is a lovely thing, it's not so much a lovely thing when it goes wrong. And a lot of marriages are going wrong, not because there's anything wrong with marriage itself, but because people simply refuse to do it God's way. We want to do it every other way except the way that the one that instituted it actually prescribed that we do it. So this is why around here, and when we address singles, this is something that is very, very, very big on our hearts, PD and I, this idea of singles, love code generally, and everything that has to do with singles, because the truth of the matter is, if you get it right in the process of choosing, and when we say get it right, it doesn't mean that everything is going to be perfect. You will never find that one human being that has everything. Say like, I want this, I want that. You're never going to find that. You have to identify what is important to you, what is priority, and other things will come along with the package that may not be so, palatable, as it were. But you will take it together with the rest of the package. So this is why we place emphasis on choosing wisely before we get married. Choosing wisely. So I want to talk to you just for 30 minutes. And give me a 30-minute timer so that I don't, I can talk very long. So that's not what we're here to do tonight. We just want to have a good time. So I want to talk to you about, before we get into the question and answer session where we will answer a lot of questions, I want to address this issue of common denominators of failed marriages. If you have read Love Code, you know that the C letter is a big one. So we are keeping with the C. Okay? These are common denominators of failed marriages. In other words, what most failed marriages have in common. You will be very shocked at this because, multiple marriage researches have been done over the years. They want to find out, what are the reasons for divorce. And you'll hear, anything from money, sex, abuse, violence, all of those different things. But there's also been research that is interested in the marriages that fail and what they had in common. What is the one thing that is a common thread in marriages that fail? Because every marriage is based on something. Every relationship, before we even get to the issue of marriage, every relationship is based on something. There is something, sometimes it's multiple things, right? But there is one thing that is the real glue that is keeping that relationship together. It is the one thing that people always look at and say, I would have left this person but for this. That's what we're talking about. So, what your marriage is based on determines the health and sustainability of it. Whatever it is that is the center, the focus, the thing that is gluing your marriage together is going to determine how healthy and sustainable it's going to be. There are many marriages are long that are not healthy. There are two things. You want a marriage that is long-lasting and that is healthy. It's not something you are enduring in the process of it. So, the scripture tells us, if we take our bearings from scripture, in Psalm 11 verse 3, so Psalm 11 verse 3, says something that is very, very important. It says, if the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? In other words, if you don't get it right in foundation, if the foundation of your relationship is based on the wrong thing, it will crack with time. At the beginning, it will be palatable, it will be nice, because most relationships are sweet at the beginning. They are fun at the beginning. It's fun. It's exciting to meet a new person. Okay, am I alone? These people are frowning at me. Is it not exciting? It's exciting to meet a new person. It's very exciting. It's nice. It's you get that tingle, that that thing, I don't know, the vibe or, something. It's that thing that is just exciting about it. But here's what you have to remember. There's no new human being on the earth. If you meet somebody in their 20s or their 30s, they are new to you. It's like buying a fairly used car from the dealership. It is new to you, but it's not new. That person has gone through some experiences in life. Except if you want to start at 10 years old. Or even at that, as you guys grow, you begin to grow apart. You begin to, like different things and all of that. So this is very important that this issue of foundation is addressed. So let's look at them. The first one, this will really surprise you. The first common denominator of failed marriages is appearance. Most failed marriages have in their foundation what is known as good looks. How many people want good looks? Lift up your hand. Oh, ye saints, lift up your hand. Yeah, we all want good looks. Everybody wants it. I'm just telling you, and this is not made up research. This is proven. Most failed marriages have good looks in common. In other words, if they ask them, what attracted you to this person? Is what we're saying. What is the first thing that attracted you to this person? Are you blind? Can't you see? They are good looking. And most of the time, it comes in that package. They are good looking. Now, when we talk about this, I'm going to come to the fact that we're not saying you should marry somebody you cannot behold. Okay? That's not what we're saying. Do you understand? That's not what we're saying. We're talking about what is the focus. We're talking about the thing that when you think about it, you would say, there are so many red flags that, but where am I going to find somebody that's fine as this? That is the thing that is the foundation of your relationship. That's what we're talking about. And for most failed relationships, it's good looks. Most people who are in abusive relationships are still in those abusive relationships because the partner is very good looking. Very good looking. In fact, they are very well behaved outside. How many people saw the video of the French Prime Minister and his wife? Okay. In case you didn't see it, let me tell you. You see, a lot of marriages, you don't understand, there's dynamics when it comes to marriages. By the way, his own situation is very unique because his wife is very much older than him. Very much. It's not like PD and I, that is 1 year. In fact, she forgets that she's older than me sometimes because I behave more mature than she is. But when the gap, no, that's not what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Not to say she doesn't behave maturely. But I act like the man, I act like the man. So this guy, his wife was his teacher in school. Okay? So there is something that comes with that. There's a dynamic. And that dynamic may not be appropriate for the public eye. So for those of you who don't know what happened, he was about to come out of the presidential jet to face the cameras. And we saw a hand from heaven shoving him in the mouth and pushing him. I'm telling you, this was his wife. Was shoving him like that, pushing him. So when the cameras now, when the guy saw that the cameras were open, he composed himself. Then they came out together. She didn't hold his hand in the elevator. You know when they're coming down from the steps, they hold themselves and act nice. So sometimes, you see, every relationship has something that is keeping them. Now, I'm not saying this is what it is. I'm just saying that for them, it might simply be the prestige that they have that is still keeping that relationship going because obviously something is wrong. You may have arguments, but to shove me in the face, there's a crack. And those cracks begin to show with time. That's why you see that after a while, people will just come out, after maybe 20 years or 50 years, they just come out and say, we're going our separate ways. And you'll be like, but you guys are always lovey-dovey outside. You're always, all is always looking well, as it were. So this is how you will know that is the main thing, and the main reason is that this is the reason you give yourself when you ignore red flags. Are you still here? Yes. I'm talking about the reason you give yourself. So you will say something like, this thing you're bringing up is very bad, but it's very good looking. So this is why I always tell you guys, don't marry appearance. You need somebody that you can look on and be happy. This is why the saying beauty is in the eye of the beholder is still very valid, because there is universal beauty, don't get me wrong. There's the people that everybody sees and says, looks like the beauty contests, the Miss Worlds and all these ones. Everybody looks at it, that is good looking. But when you are marrying somebody, you are marrying a package. The beauty is the shell. It's a whole package you are marrying. There's a lot of beauty with attitude. Especially now in 2025. It's almost like the more beautiful, now that's not to generalize, I'm just saying that it looks as if that the more beautiful someone is, the more attitude they have, the more so you are getting into the whole package. And you have to sit back for a second and ask yourself, what are the red flags in this relationship? What are the red flags? And don't use the appearance to cover it. There are some red flags that over time they will become orange. Not every red flag is a really big red flag, because there are some things that we say are red flags that is just my preference at this time. Like I always used to joke before we got married, I always told my wife that I wanted a red sports car. That was my dream car. I like red cars. Right now, you cannot bring it. If I see red cars on the road, I cringe. Like, why are you driving a car that is red? How? So my taste and my desire and my preferences have changed over time. Over time, things have evolved and changed. Some of the things that I like today, you might be surprised, in 2-3 years, I won't like it. So why then do we focus on those things rather than something else that is more permanent, that is core? And this is why we refer to those things as core values. Because they are core. They are essential to who we are. And sometimes they are not the things that we tell everybody, but they are the things that matter the most to us. So don't marry appearance, marry assignments. I've said this over and over again. Because actually assignment has a way of changing your appearance with time. You saw my pictures, right? Mm-hmm. Assignment has a way of adjusting your appearance. There are so many things that you can adjust with money and a good life. Your appearance will get better. I assure you that if you get a comfortable life. I used to tell my wife too, back in the day when we got married, I can never be fat. I can never put on weight. That is a genetic thing. My genes, I'll be bragging. I cannot, because my mom is on the big side. My siblings, my younger sibling and my sister, they have the tendency. They manage it, but they have that tendency. So it's my dad and I that were like broom. So I always told her that it's not possible. Look, I've realized that it was poverty that was the reason. I'm telling you, poverty was the reason why. There was nothing else. When my life became, I mean, how can you be eating? I used to eat, till now, sometimes I have a problem putting peanut butter or anything in loaves of bread. I used to eat loaves of bread with nothing in it. I would just literally take it out of the fridge. I used to go to this place called Tantalizers in the country that my wife is from. Okay, I don't think it exists anymore. It was called Tantalizers. So you could buy a kind of rice that is known as ofada rice. And it comes with stew. So I will buy the minimum required rice and buy a lot of stew. So I'll keep the stew. The guys are looking at me like they don't know what I'm talking about. You are in this situation. Your own might be a different restaurant name, but this is what you do. Okay? So I'll put it in the fridge. Then I will take it out, from time to time. Let me tell you the truth. Sometimes I ate those things without even heating it up. I won't even warm it up. I'm telling you, I will literally take it out of the fridge. I will take my bread, I will eat it like that. Because who has time to be warming? Like, really? I don't have time for that stuff. Like, I have things to do with my life than to be cooking and be doing all these things. But it was poverty. When my life became balanced, and there was somebody looking after my destiny, things began to improve. And I now became desirable. All of them that did not look at me before now wanted to start to look. So good looking is good enough, actually. It is. Potential is good enough. Just make sure that this person has potential. Whether it is in the looks, whether it is in assignment or in destiny, they might not be working in their purpose right now, but there has to be potential. Don't marry a douche. Can I repeat that? Okay. Don't marry a douche or douchette. Okay, because it goes both ways. Okay, how do you recognize it? Somebody who has no bearing, no purpose. Look, you don't have to be working in the biggest corporation. How you will know somebody who has a future is he wakes up in the morning, is restless. He may not have a job, but he's out and about doing something. He's not sitting down on the couch and changing his PlayStation keypad every now and again. Right? That's how you know that you are going to have a liability on your hand. And sometimes because, again, I like to speak to ladies directly because you are the ones who sometimes, just because of the makeup and biology and all of these different things, tend to bear the brunt of it. A guy can waste, 10 years of his life. It doesn't really matter too much. But a lady cannot afford that. So your eyes have to be open, your ears have to be open. Don't let appearance deceive you. Where if you see a douchebag, something triggers inside you, you know. Your friends might be admiring his pictures on Instagram when he removes the shirt, but you know that this fellow is a douche. Don't marry a douche. We'll talk more about that. So appearance is one of the reasons many people stay in abusive relationships, and it's a common denominator. The second one is chemistry. These are all your favorite things. Chemistry is number 2. Failed marriages are often based on chemistry, which goes with appearance. So I want to try to tear it apart to you because people don't really understand the difference between chemistry and compatibility. We mix them up. When you meet somebody, do you know that it's very easy to catch feelings? Under the right temperature and pressure. Under the right temperature and pressure, you can catch feelings. This is why, you see, even me that I'm a married man, there are some environments, temperatures and pressure that I don't put myself into. Because it's very easy to catch feelings. All you need is be isolated for a while. Maybe your wife is away somewhere and you are going to all these nice parties. They call it get together. You just go and you see, how you see someone and you just see them, you're like, in case, this is good, this is okay. And then maybe you now go to the food stand together, you want to take food and you're like, oh, can you help me with that? Yeah, and then conversation starts. Then you start feeling something. Why are you pretending? You know what I'm talking about. You start feeling that thing, that there might be something here. Like it's actually going really well. And you start talking more and the person is smiling back at you. They are laughing at your jokes and everything is fine. And then you start gravitating towards each other. That's chemistry. So you might be here, you might be having a conversation with this person, and then you just find yourselves gravitating towards each other. Say, you again? You again? Okay. You go, that's chemistry. That is, and it's caused by something called hormones. Chemistry is not a big deal. Do you know what? If they put you together with someone you don't like at all, someone who you don't like their appearance, because of the natural tendency, the hormones, you are likely to develop chemistry with the least ugly of all the options that you have. This is the foundation of shows like Big Brother. That's the basic, it is social science. When they bring them in the first day, in case you don't know, this is how it works. They'll bring a group of strangers, complete strangers. But they'll make sure that they are within the same age group, so that because you won't be like that president. That's not a normal way of going about it. So they'll make sure that they are the same age group. When they come in the first time, they first put their best foot forward. Everybody's saying, hi, where are you from? Everybody, they do all of that. This, like second day, people start figuring out, I don't like her, she's too ugly. So why does she do that? Look at him. He has big stomach. They'll be talking, bad about themselves. You just leave them. As the days go by, the hormone starts resetting the brain. They start thinking differently. Because as they begin to do things in the house together, they start seeing themselves, the good, the bad, the ugly. They start seeing, they see them, go to the pool, which means half naked. They see that. You see them tying the towel, going to the bathroom. They see them cooking, wearing shorts, wearing all sorts of things. After some time, the same guy who said, this girl's head is too big, you see him gravitating towards the girl. Every time she's in the kitchen, you'll go there, we'll have conversation, they will talk. Like, before you know what's happening, by the end of the 90 days, they are in bed together. What happened? The word is on this. What happened? Chemistry. It's anti-chemi. Is what I call chemistry. Chemistry is very simple. Chemistry is cheap. It's very easy. In fact, they found out that if you put two people who are compatible together in the same place, after some time, they will develop chemistry. Because their compatibility will make sure that this is why, out of all of these things, we celebrate modern day things so much, and we forget that there was a way things used to be done before. Do you know that the divorce rate is still the least amongst arranged marriages? It is still the least. It is those of us that are falling in love. They are the ones that are divorcing. Why do you think so? Because you see, most arranged marriages is not just random. Most arranged marriages are based on compatibility, not chemistry. In fact, sometimes they don't even see themselves until the parents have agreed that this was going to happen. The parents agree based on certain values. They agree on certain principles. They go to certain families. This is what Abraham was saying to his servants. Go to this specific place. Don't marry from among this place. It's not a race issue. It's a values issue. It's about values. It's about these people behave in a certain way. These people are trained in a certain way. They already eliminate a lot of issues that might come up in the marriage. All that is left is for Adam to see Eve and say, this is now. If it is not now, bone of my bone, it will be later, bone of my bone. Because with time, chemistry develops. By the time the girl or the husband starts doing things that are compatible with his life, making his life easier, practical things, he starts looking at her differently. That, I don't actually like you. What he's saying is, you are a blessing to me. The girl might not be the trophy wife that he can take outside and they will hold hands and everybody's paparazzi, they're taking their pictures and doing all that stuff. He might not be that. But when they get back home and lock the door, he's in peace. He's living in peace. His life is tranquil. Everything about his life is, you get, he's not calling, let's leave that. So let's define this word. Chemistry is the interaction of one personality with another and is mostly based on attraction. Chemistry is the interaction of one personality with another and is mostly based on attraction. Compatibility, on the other hand, is the natural ability to live or work together in harmony. This is what compatibility is. The natural ability to live or work together in harmony because of well-matched characteristics. So we're not saying that the two of you must like the same thing because opposites attract. We are not saying that they must, but the values align. It's not this person wants to, go to yoga every time, and this one does not even, is always shouting and screaming, doesn't even like anything. Like, there has to be some values, especially the values that are most important to each person. They must align. The both partners, like when we talk about arranged marriages, one of the things they make sure is that the both families are families who believe in the longevity of marriage. There are families who believe that the marriage institution is still sacred, that it is still important. Not people who train their kids to there are people now training their kids that if the husband, the boy does anyhow, leave him, based on their own experience. So they pass that on, whether knowingly or unknowingly, that you can leave him. Don't worry about him. The men are trash. Men are this, men are that. The child grows up with that. Then when the husband does that, he just remembers that my mom told me that men are trash, so leave them. So all of these things are things that we can improve on. They are things that we can get better at. That is why we expose ourselves to information like this, so that we're not doing things in isolation, in our own little bubble. When you bring things out to the open, it takes on new meaning. So that's what chemistry is, and that's what compatibility is. Compatibility is the practicality of your relationship. Chemistry is how you feel about it. Compatibility is how practical is this relationship. How practical is it? Perfect example. I'm sure you guys know how I feel about issues of race. I'm not, in any way saying don't marry somebody of a different race. There is attraction that happens at that level, where you see somebody from a different race and you are attracted to the person. There's nothing wrong with that. You now have to ask yourself, are we compatible? If you don't speak the same language, you are not compatible. You must have at least one common language that the both of you speak. Do you understand this? You can't be living in the house with somebody and you are using Google. That's not a practical, do you understand? That's not a practical relationship. But people say, have you not seen it on 90 Day Fiancé? Huh? 90 Day Ever After. There are so many spin-offs of that show. It's ridiculous. 90 Day Revive It Again. All sorts of things. So they want to force the relationship to work. They say, I found him online because he's attractive. He looks good. He looks, like he's in shape and everything. They want to make sure that they force the relationship to work. So they will be seeing all the red flags as they are going along. They will be seeing everything. They'll say, Okay, that's not good, but it will work. But it will work. Then they will keep forcing it. Sometimes they will be spending their fortune, their life savings, on traveling distances that are not practical. They say, no, it must work. Then when the man even starts beating her in a relation, they are not yet married though. They are already punching. The friends will tell her, especially when it's older versus younger, they will say, Mommy, this guy is a douchebag. You say, I love him. Are you going to marry me? That's the one that always kills it. So when she tells the children, are you going to marry me? They will leave her alone. Then she'll go. But after some time, you will now come back and see that this thing there was chemistry. They looked at each other and they felt, I can go to bed with them. That's what chemistry is. You look at the person and say, but actually, you are not compatible because it's not practical. Am I making sense? So you've got to ask yourself practical question. Chemistry feels, compatibility thinks. Chemistry feels, compatibility thinks. Chemistry is physical and emotional. Compatibility is practical. Chemistry is based on hormones. Compatibility is based on values. This is the difference. You can fall in love with someone, but make sure the relationship is practical. I believe in God. I believe in the word of God as final. But the person I'm seeing is still on the fence about God. The question is, how do you really feel about God? If he is the center, you have to ask yourself the practical questions. I'm driven. I believe in going all out after my dreams, but my partner believes in being laid back. I don't need to do too much. You don't need to do too much. All of those things. Now, having said this, chemistry without compatibility is a fling. So if you have chemistry but there's no compatibility, what you are in is a fling, is infatuation. It will last for a while. When the practicality of the relationship begins to stare you in the face, the chemistry begins to die. And this is what happens most of the time. But compatibility without chemistry is friendship. This is the balance. Have you ever been friend zoned? The guys are saying amen. This is how guys end up in friend zone. Because you can have compatibility. If there is no chemistry, you are in a friendship. I'm not saying that your friendship cannot evolve into a relationship, but chemistry must come before you say you do. Do you hear what I said, guys? There must be some measure of chemistry. It cannot be the main thing that is driving everything. You're just shaking. But there must be an interest. You must look at the person and say, at least you try. Not that there's nothing to be desired. No. That's friendship. Just leave them alone, put them in the friend zone, and leave them there. Okay? After some time, you might find out that your friendship might now evolve into something else that becomes, more of a spark and more interesting. That's when you know that now it's a relationship. So you need both of these things. You need compatibility and you need chemistry. Compatibility is what will look after a baby together. Chemistry will be grossed out by poop. When you leave the hospital the first time with a brand new baby that is pooping, when you opened it, I remember the first diaper that I changed in my life. When the thing came out, I had been practicing. I'll tell you more about it in the Q&A. I had been practicing all these things. I read books. Marriage is the one thing that we go into and we don't prepare for. We don't read. We don't do anything. It's just to feel, I love him. I just love him. Yeah, okay. How are you preparing for your marriage? I just love him. I've paid for my dress. I've paid for the hall. But the marriage itself and how it's going to work, no chance. We're not spending money on that. So compatibility means that your core traits and your core values are aligned. Chemistry means there is a spark. The best marriages are based on both of these things working together. And unfortunately, most failed marriages are based on chemistry alone. You must have some chemistry before you marry someone, but you can also develop it. You can develop it. As far as the compatibility bit is intact, because compatibility is harder to develop than chemistry. Final thing, common denominator of failed marriages is status. This is when marriage is not solely based on who someone is, but who they are in society. Like the example we gave. And again, I'm not saying this is what exactly it is, but sometimes people weigh everything and say, but I can't give up being the wife of the president. Even though they know that the relationship, how many people can give up being the wife of the president? I'm just asking. He will look at it and say, no, this status is too much to just surrender like that. We can be punching each other behind closed doors, but I'm the wife of the president, whichever way. And this happens in different ways. Sometimes people get married, they look at someone's wealth as the thing. They say, okay, if I marry to that family, my life is made. Some other people will go after somebody who is poor deliberately because they want the person to be indebted to them forever. So all of this is what people's marriages are. And again, don't forget what we said. When you ask yourself this question, you say, if you want to leave the person, and the one thing you are asking yourself is, but this. That is the thing that your relationship is focused on. That is the center of it. And it doesn't matter what you say it is, because again, especially church folk, we like to say, oh, Jesus be the center of my life. Jesus is the center of it all. It's a lie. The practicality is that the thing that you cannot give up is the center of your relationship. And sometimes it's sex before marriage. Yeah, that's what it is. Sometimes you think about everything, you say, but the sex is good. You know that this fellow is not just a douchebag, he's a douchebag raised to power, raised to power 20. But you're like, but the sex is good. It's interesting. When married people say stuff like this, the single people are like, what are you talking about? You will get tired of sex at some point. Because when practical issues begin to... I know you cannot believe what I've just said. You are like, huh? Me? You don't know me. If you know the deepest thoughts of my heart... If you know the deepest thoughts of my heart, you will not make that statement. I can never get... don't worry. You will. I promise you will. Not because you are losing interest in the act itself, but in having it with this person. Because when you don't take care of compatibility, it raises his head later on. The chemistry will die. Look, practical issues choke chemistry. It chokes it. Even simple things like order a cab or plan the dinner, the guy doesn't plan it very well. You start looking at him differently. What are you? You are just nothing but a fine boy. Haven't you heard that before? And you don't have any sense. You're just fine. But she still stays in the relationship because that's what really matters to her. She can tell her parents at home that godliness matters to me. Jesus is the center. But at the end of the day, in her closet, she will think about it and say, this guy, sexy. This sex is amazing. I can't leave this. No, it's not good. But at the end of the day, the way God intended for this thing to work, if we practice it exactly that way, you will be at peace with the person that you're with. You will learn with the person. You will grow with the person. The things you like will be the things that you like together. God never planned for us to have exes. Do you know that? Am I messing up your day? There's food after. Don't worry. Everything I say, just put that at the back of your mind. Let food be the center. Okay? There is food. I'll be all right. The issue is God never planned for anybody to have exes. The plan was for one man and one woman to come together, learn together, grow together, make their mistakes together, such that what they say they like is what they found out, trying things out together. They are not coming to the relationship saying, I like this because I did this with my previous partner. Okay, I think I'm spoiling your day. But this is the truth of it. This is it. So they are coming together, they are learning together. That's why I always tell people, it doesn't mean you won't make mistakes. It doesn't mean every relationship will work. My first relationship did not work. Do you understand? So I'm not saying every relationship must work, but you have to limit it to as few errors as possible. As few experiments as possible. So that you're not carrying baggage and putting that burden on the person you end up with. Then they have to be the ones that have to live up to the standard of your lofty things. So, let me bring this home, okay? Because it looks like all doom and gloom. It's just saying these are all the wrong things. So what is the right thing? What is it that I should now look out for? So here is the thing. Finally, this is the good news, okay? This is the good news. What should your marriage be based on? Number one thing, let me read, if you permit me, another passage of scripture here, just to put some context to this, okay? Because my ideas are not ideas I just make up in my head. They come from the scripture, because this is the center of our own relationship. Matthew chapter 7, from verse 24 to 27, this is what scripture says. It says, therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall. For it was founded on the rock. It was founded on what, please? on the rock. It was founded on the rock. Only things that are founded on the rock don't shift. It was founded on the rock. But everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand, and the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell. And great was its fall. So what should our marriages be based on? Number one thing is your individual love for God. Your individual love for God. That is the first thing. So before we talk about the both of you even loving each other, which is what we always put ahead, the both of you, look, I know there are so many ways people define love these days. But again, going back to our context of Scripture, God is love. He does not have it. He is love. So if you don't know him, you actually don't know love. You might be infatuated, you might like someone, you should be married. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm talking about love. When you say love, what you are saying is God. So the two of you must first have an individual love for God that is not dependent on either of you. That's what I'm talking about. So your love for God is not dependent on whether my partner is there or not. Your love for God is not, I'm coming to church because I want this girl who is a church goer. So I also start coming to church. It is individually, you both are going after God individually. When that part is sorted, we now go to number 2, which is your mutual love for God. So now the both of you, even though you love God individually, you can now together pursue God. Am I making sense? So you now come to mutual love for God. So the two of you now come together. You now are now doing things together. Because this is the important part of this. If it comes down to it, and your spouse says, this God thing I'm no longer doing, you will rather give up your spouse. There are relationships where people have given up God because of the spouse. Because they did not first start with individual love for God. They started loving God because this person said, let's love God. That if we don't go to church together, my parents will not approve of this relationship. So they start doing that together. But if you first have individual love for God, you see, with two of us, like you see as me as I'm a pastor now, have you not seen pastors that backslide before? Have you not seen it? If I come today now and say, I'm not doing it again. This Jesus thing. It's not my thing again. I'm doing it. She will just, as you see her like this, you know how she will say, I love you. She will just look at me, You don't love Jesus again? Okay. The Lord is your strength. Because, first of all, it's not about you. The beginning of it is not you. It is that I love God. And together now, we are now exercising a mutual love for God. In other words, like your Facebook status. You say God is your mutual friend. The two of you. But individually, you have a relationship with God. And then you now go to the final thing, which is your individual love for each other. And this is where we'll call it a wrap. Okay? This one, let me stress this, because there are too many people in our time who are forcing themselves on people who don't love them in return. Look, the person that will stay with you is not the person that you forced to love you. The person that will endure the bad times with you is not the person that you choked into loving you. Or that you revealed yourself to. You confused him. Oh, you guys know what I'm talking about. You know exactly. You confused him. And because you know men are easily confused. You confused the man. Then he did what he wanted to do. Then he's now stuck. Or you what is the right word to explain this? You used pregnancy to chain him. Trap. You trapped him. You set a trap of pregnancy for him. Yeah. And then he married you. Then 2-3 years down the line, he starts practicing Rovinism. Rovingitis. Up and down. The whole place. Then you come back and you're like, but why is he like this? But why doesn't he love me? Why can't he just look at me? The issue is, was he looking at you? Was he looking at you? It was not, but you choked yourself into the relationship. You forced your way into it. It was like, is it that this one or nothing? Like, this one is, what do you guys call this thing? Big fish, big catch. Right? You know all these phrases. I can't let this one go. And sometimes you marry somebody because you don't want your friend to end up with him. Why are you saying that? Don't you know that this is what you do? You say, if I don't marry him now, he will start looking at Bola. I cannot allow him to marry Bola. No. So you force yourself into the thing. Look, there must be individual love for each other. The best marriages, the ones that last, is where if you isolate the man, he will tell you, my wife is my life. And if you isolate the woman, she will repeat the exact same thing. It's not, I love him, but, as long as everything is okay, we're fine. Which means that if it ever happens that things are not okay, we will go our separate ways. I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you. May God bless you.